Hi, everybody. I'm so excited for our session today. This is all about fueling up with some concepts for book marketing, things that work just for writers. So today, we're going to cover some topics about things that you can do now, little pieces along the way that will get you ready and get you set ahead of time with less stress for when it's your turn to market your book. All right, what's all the hype about with book marketing? Well, half of the fun is getting people excited to read your book before it's released. Because believe me, there's something magical about saying, my book is going to be available next week. You can't get it yet. Oh man, that makes us want it more. Something about the unattainable, the I can't have it. But it's a little secret peek behind the curtain. It's like getting in behind that red velvet rope. We want folks to get excited about our book, and telling them ahead of time is part of that. And to do that, we want to create a bit of a brand. Now, we talked earlier in the year about defining what your target market is, your niche. What's the genre you're writing for? The Nora Roberts brand is all about romance. But some of you may know she also writes as J.D. Robb. And that brand, that author brand, is about mysteries. So, what is your brand? I'm going to encourage you to think about this. Just start it churning in the back of your mind as we look at other authors and what they're doing to promote their books today. I'm going to suggest that one of the most powerful things you can do to start working on your marketing ideas at this point, just ideas only, no pressure to do, is to follow the leaders in your industry niche. So today, you can download the handouts. Just scroll over to the lower right-hand section of this module's video, and click the download file for your Fueling Up handouts, where I'm going to ask you, I'm going to leave you space to fill in. Who are the top 10 authors in your niche, in your genre of the market? And then you'll see there'll be a chart on the second page where I'm going to ask you to do a little internet digging and find out where they are. Where do you find them? Do these authors have product listings on Amazon? You bet they do. Do these authors have websites or blogs? You bet they do. Because that's how they become top 10. They have to be visible. Do these authors have Facebook fan pages? You bet they do. I can't think of a single one that I'm following right now that doesn't. Do they also have a Twitter feed or other social platforms? You'll find places to fill those in on today's handouts. And then finally, what is it that these top 10 industry leaders are doing? What sorts of content are they posting? Images? Text only? Combination? Personal? All right, so today we're going to look at all the different ways that people can follow an author. I'll show you a couple of Facebook fan pages. I want you to take notes as you're visiting these different websites. This is going to be very important for you later. What did you love about the way these industry leaders present content on their Facebook pages? Are they on there every day? Chances are low, unless maybe they've hired a publicist to be on there for them on their behalf. Or are they on there once a week, every other week, maybe only once a month? Or are they kind of only around when they're releasing new content? Take some notes and tell me what you love and what you hate about what they're doing on their sites. All right, I want to introduce to you a 4-step process that you are going to use. You're going to build this over time to get you ready for your eventual book launch so that it's no stress. These are simple steps that you can tackle in 5 or 10 minute chunks as your time is available. And the very most important one you want to start doing is what I call building your list. This is going to be a contact list with names, and most important is going to be that email address. But for people that you only have connections to by the postal address, that's great too. I want you to start making this list, and I know that those first people who are going to be on the top of your list I want you to think of those people, the ones who are closest to you, who support you, and would just run into the burning building to rescue you. I want you to put a little star by the names of those people who are going to be your evangelists. These are the folks who would step out and say, my friend just wrote a book and I think you should have it. Or the kind of people who give books as Christmas presents or holiday gifts or birthday presents. You want to treat these people with reverence and love, because they are going to be the ones who will help you spread that initial flame to your book so that we can set a wildfire when it's ready to release. So as you think about those beginning steps, I want you to start by capturing first and last names, email addresses, and postal mail addresses. And each time you meet someone new or talk to somebody about books or writing, I want you to be sure and add them to your list right away so that you're building up a nice, healthy starting place for when it's time to market and launch your book and create that buzz. All right, there are 2 places that you can do this. I want you to begin by creating an easy way that you can add names to your list, and maybe that's just a simple sheet of paper where you're jotting down names in pen and ink. That's fine. Or maybe you're ready to go ahead and put that into a computer spreadsheet. Use 1 column for the first name, 1 column for the last name, 1 column for the email address, 1 for the street address, 1 for the city, 1 for the state, and 1 for the zip. Now, you'll say, why don't I just put their name in a box, and their email in a box, and their address in a box? And I'll say that hopefully, maybe later, your email list or your address list will grow to the point where you want to be able to sort by last name. Or maybe you want to be able to send a mail merge letter where you can address it to Dear First Name, or Dear Mr. or Mrs. Last Name. Or maybe you just want to be able to target fans who live in a certain state or a certain city. This will all be possible if you set up your spreadsheet right the first time to make it easier on you later. Okay? Awesome. Or I'll talk to you in a few minutes about some potential of using your online email program to create what's called a distribution group so that you can send 1 email and hit a large group of people at one time. The other way that you'll start to build your list when you release your first book is by remembering to add list building strategies in that back matter of your book. So I want you to start looking between now and when your book is ready to release at what happens after the end of a book in the books that you're reading. Is there anything from the publishing house or from the author themselves? Is that person writing a personal letter to the reader, telling them about what's coming up next, or alerting them to previous books in the series? How do those pieces evolve, and what's in there? Is it a website address, or is it a download the next chapter by going to my website, or a visit me on Facebook kind of link? So start looking at the back matter of other people's books and jot down notes about what you would like to do in your books when they come out. Keep a list of those best practices, the things that make you want to follow other readers. Now, as you become more in depth in talking to your future readers and building that hype, I want to help you make things easy. For those of you who are completely unfamiliar with email distribution groups, book an appointment with me. We can set this up in 5 or 10 minutes and give you all the specific tools you need with your personal email provider. And when you're ready to go to something larger, let's say when you have a couple hundred fans that you need to reach out to, I can work with you individually on that too. But for now, I want you to be aware that each of your email services, be it a Hotmail, a Gmail, a Yahoo Mail, anything like that, has the possibility for you to reach out to a whole group of people with 1 email. All right, so contact me and we can talk through exactly how to set that up in yours if you're not familiar. Then, when you get ready to move to a larger service that will give you more, I don't know, more capacity to understand how your fans are interacting with the emails you send out, you might be looking at a time when you want to put a little bit of money into the email service that you're using to deliver that content to your fans. There are three services that are probably the most predominant right now. I'm going to recommend MailChimp as something you could set up immediately and use for free. You can carry that free service with MailChimp up to having 2,000 addressees on your mailing list. And this is the kind of service where you get the ability to create one email. Now, there are some strategies we'll talk about in a later session as to how to make those emails have the best subject lines and really speak to your fan as if they're the only one you're talking to in that moment. But for now, I just want to give you the overview of what the services can do. You can draft one email, send it to your entire list, and get a little bit of feedback about how they're using it. You'll be able to use MailChimp, Constant Contact, or Aweber to monitor what percentage of the people who receive your email actually open it. What percentage of the people who receive your email click on a link that you put in there to the Buy Now button or to your blog content? What percentage of people open your email when you send it out on a Monday 9 a.m. as compared to when you send it out on a Thursday at 6:58 p.m.? This is amazing content for you to have. Or do more people read your emails when you send it out on a Sunday morning or a Sunday afternoon? The only way that you're ever going to be able to dig in and find out how to reach more of your audience better is by working with this kind of email service. And beyond the ability to get all of that feedback of how people are using your email, you can also make your life a little easier by using these service options to schedule emails to go out ahead of time. For example, if you're going to be traveling on the day and time that reaches the most of your users, you can create your email ahead of time and then schedule it to release Sunday afternoon at 1:47 p.m. and that will go out. The second tool I want you to notice about what the leaders in your industry are doing is called blogging. I want you to determine, does your author have a website? And on that website, is there an area where they update content frequently? Are they posting personal things or just info about new releases? What a blog entails is that it looks just like a regular website. It has a static web address. That means there's one address domain name that you can go to, type into, and no matter when they've released new content, it will be available by visiting that same web address. It's a place where they can update content quickly and easily. And I'm going to suggest, from the marketing standpoint, that the content that gets shared most effectively be most of the time things that are helping your audience to learn more, to grow, be useful content. So you'll see on the third bullet point, a little social media recipe that a marketing friend of mine, a marketing goddess, Kim Walsh Phillips, put together. She says our content should be 85% of the time PBS. We're informing, we're providing value, and only 15% of the time selling, looking like the QVC network on television. So I'm going to suggest that some of the most effective authors do this with their websites and blog material as well, and it's not all about the sales. So I know many of you have talked to me already. I just hate selling. I don't want to sell. I just want to write. I'm in love with my writing. I'm hoping that this is actually good news for you because you're going to be able to connect better, faster, stronger with your future fans when you share a little bit of the insider story and aren't always selling. As you're visiting different websites, I want you to notice how those top 10 industry leaders are connecting with their readers. Most of the time, it's because they're sharing content that makes them seem like real people. They're also engaging other folks from their industry to come in and guest blog. Joe Konrath is huge at this, and I'll introduce you to Joe a little bit later, where you invite other movers and shakers in to post to your blog. It drives some of their traffic to visit your site, and in turn, you open up a new audience to those guest bloggers. It's a great reciprocal way that you and a friend could build your tribes. And also the best blogs engage readers between book releases. You and I both know it would be a challenge for us to release a new book every week. Now, there are a few people doing this now, short 10,000 word books, but for most of us, we're aiming to release a new title once or twice a year at best. So blogging is a wonderful way that you can stay connected with your fans between releases. Here's Joe Konrath's website. I want you to notice he's using this banner area at the top of his screen to display book covers of titles that he's released, either under his own name or in a pen name. And you'll see a menu area in that not quite navy blue area where you see books, store, blog, Kindle Worlds, bio, bibliography. The blog page is what comes up automatically when you type in his website. So you'll see this post was released last Friday, is actually a guest blogging post like I was talking about earlier, where he has invited Mark Terry into his site and to his fans to get a little inside story into what Mark is writing about or Mark's take on the story Black Russian. One of the reasons that I bring up Joe Konrath's site is that I'd like you to go into his blog and read a little deeper because he is one of the first traditionally published authors to publicly leave traditional publishing in favor of self-pubbing, taking his audience with him and keeping a larger portion of that royalty scheme. He's been in this game now, I want to say since maybe 2010 or 2011 in the self-publishing field. And he's one of the few people, at least at that point, who was willing, geez guys, the cats are crazy today, who was willing to release hard facts and figures, how many books he was selling, what the royalty scheme was he was making, and how that improved or didn't improve based on the releases of his many, many, many titles and how he released them and with what aplomb. He's a very sharing and open person, cynical, snarky, but if you like me, you'll like him. If you can't tolerate me, then you may want to steer clear. Anyway, I introduce you to Joe as one of the industry leaders that I follow. I also want to introduce you to Joanna Penn. She's called her blog The Creative Penn, on her last name, Joanna Penn. And you can also find self-publishing tools and how-tos in her website and her blog. So each month she releases new, not only new text content through her blog, but you could also tune in and connect with her personally through video in what she calls podcasts. These are broadcasts that are internet-based with video. You might also want to think of shaping your website or your blog in a different way. So I present you one from my childhood friend, Michelle Dobbins. She lives in North Carolina, I believe, and has 2 books out. The first of which you'll see in the lower left-hand corner, called Personal Alchemy. So she's using her website to direct people in a sidebar area to the Buy Now button, essentially, for her books, or in the center area to read her blog. So you'll see the most recent date on her, as of today's the 26th of March when I'm recording, and she just puts this blog post up on the 23rd. So she's reaching out every week to her readers. Good for her. You'll see that she's offering up connections to her fans to follow her on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, by email, or by RSS feed. And if you have questions about what any of those platforms are or the ways that you can communicate, jot them in the comments below, because I would be happy to know if this is worthy of its own video later, or what your questions are, as we're just scratching the surface. For those of you who are interested in researching or even diving right in to create your own blog, I'm going to suggest that you don't have to spend any money at all to get this started. I would direct you to WordPress.com, because it is a place where you can start your website or personal blog for free. You'll see that blue button in the middle that says Create Website, and it's going to direct you through a 2 or 3 step process where you pick out a name for your site, which will become part of that address for you. This is how I created yearofthebook.wordpress.com, and then you'll get to choose the theme, the way that your page looks on the screen. And moreover, you can do this completely for free. You won't have to purchase web domains. You won't have to purchase web hosting. You won't have to hire someone to design your website. You can get started today for free. All right. The third tactic that writers use to market their books is Facebook. And I put it in quotes, the Facebook, because many of the authors that I worked with our first year were afraid of the Facebook. And that's exactly how they talked about it. No matter how you feel about Facebook personally, there are every month actively on this site more than 1.4 billion potential customers, potential readers for your book. And if you are not in this shopping mall, this cocktail party, you're missing out on a lot of potential readers that you could be reaching with your book's message, with the special content that only you can share. I encourage you to dig a little bit deeper into Facebook and to look at how those top 10 leaders in your genre are using the tools that are out there. One of the things that I hope you'll find as you start exploring your industry leaders' Facebook content is that they're releasing things before the book comes out to drive interest, to fuel the hype about their book. You may see, we're tossing around titles for the book. Vote for your favorite below. Or here's a couple of cover concepts that we're looking at. Which one do you like the best? They're engaging their Facebook fans and followers and encouraging them to feel like they're part of the decision-making process. And that creates amazing buy-in for their books. Because when I vote on a book's cover, I want to then follow up on that book release later and see, what did most people love? What did they go with? Using Facebook also allows you to put your images and your videos right up on there. I know that one of the things I'm interested in doing is posting to Facebook a video of me reading my book right away to a group of Storytime kids, because I think that'll be a nice way that I can share the content of my book with other families who can't make it out to Storytime, but they can still feel like they were there at that live event. A third thing that Facebook makes possible for authors with a little bit of money and a little bit of savvy is that you can target your book advertising money to exactly a very narrow demographic of people. Are they women between the ages of 28 and 64? Are they men between the ages of 65 and older? Are they 18 to 34-year-old men? Do they live in this zip code? Have they purchased an information product in the last 60 days? Are they in the mood to buy a car? You will be amazed and possibly creeped out by some of the data that's available, the demographic research. Now, you will not be able to research your neighbor and find out inner details. This is material that's made available through 3 data mining companies that Facebook contracts with, 2 of them that I know, Axiom and Datalogix. These are data harvesters. Their job is to find content about people demographically. Facebook simply allows you to tap into that data mining anonymously, I guess, so that your ads can reach out to people who would be most interested in your titles. The sneaky truth is that you can also target your ads to the Facebook fans of those industry top 10 leaders. This is a wonderful way that you can help get your book in front of potential readers who will fall in love with it the quickest. Now, if you're someone who does not currently have a Facebook personal page, I am going to reach out to you today and suggest that the smartest possible Facebook approach you can have is to build your personal page first. And if you're in that minority of people who don't already have a Facebook page, I know you probably are thinking, I don't want to share my personal information. I don't want a personal Facebook page. I'm not saying you have to have a personal Facebook page and use it frequently. I'm saying your job is going to be a whole lot easier of creating your fan page eventually if you start with a personal page, because Facebook makes the tools available far more easier for you to grow for free connections and relationships between people you already know and are related to, friends, colleagues from work, people you went to school with or college with or worked at 40 years ago with, from your personal page. They're going to suggest and make simple connections for you there. Whereas if you start by building a fan page, I don't want to share anything personal on the web, it's going to be far more challenging, and you may have to actually invest money in likes campaigns or whatnot to build your following that way. Whereas if you start with your personal page, all of that can be organic and free for you. Here's an example of one of the romance novel industry leaders' Facebook fan page. So here's Nora Roberts. You see a very personal picture of her in the, I believe it's the park or backyard area of her house with a hawk on her arm. So those people who are in touch with Nora's loves get a sense of who she is and what she loves to do in her spare time. You'll see from her page that she's got a cover art, title art from her latest release. You'll see that she's got more than 500,000 Facebook fans on here. And Facebook will also share the images of those people that you have in common from your Facebook network who also like this Facebook person. You'll see that either Nora or her publicist are posting frequently. I grabbed this screenshot yesterday before recording, and she has a Facebook post on here from yesterday showing off some of the covers of her books as they're going to be released in the UK coming up. So as you scroll down her Facebook page, you can find more information, but ways that she's engaging with fans between releases. Here's an example of Harlan Coben, a best-selling thriller suspense writer's Facebook fan page. He's got about 1/3 fans on here, and he's also showing maybe not the same level of candid photos, but at least an up-close and personal image of him with his most recently released book cover, showing that this went on sale March 24th. And you'll notice in his timeline feed here, he's posted something 16 hours ago. So I grabbed this screenshot yesterday, and he was posting the day before as well. It's a link to a website where you can see an interview of the author. So this is a nice way that he or his publicist, I'm not sure who's posting for Harlan, allow the readers a sort of behind-the-scenes look into what his life is and his writing process. Finally, I wanted to share with you the Facebook fan page of David Rosenfeld, who's going to be joining us at our October 17th York Book Expo. He doesn't have the Facebook fan following that the other two I just shared do, but I think that we can be part of the charm that helps increase his fan base this year for sure. He is posting at least once a week, if not more frequently, and you'll see the 2 covers of books that are coming out 3 months from now. So this is very exciting, buzz-building stuff for him. He's promoting content on his Facebook fan page that nobody can get their hands on yet. This is a wonderful way to drive traffic. You'll also see that he's announcing places where his fans can come and hear him. So he's talking about his upcoming speaking event in April at the Clinton Presidential Library. Fantastic fun. Take notes as you're going through the handouts here and looking at your industry's top 10 authors. Take notes of what it is they're sharing and how effective that is with you. Do you love it or do you hate it? Is this something that you want to imitate when your book comes out or something you want to learn from? All right. When you're ready to build your Facebook fan page, here's the website you want to head to. Facebook.com/pages/create, and you'll be ready to click on the lower left-hand choice, artist, band, or public figure. Author is one of the choices inside that page to start building your fan page when you're ready. Okay, those first 3 items on our list this module were all about getting the buzz ready before the sale. Now, here is something that I want you to start looking at, a marketing tip that happens after the book has been released. And this is where an author's books begin to get reviewed. Many of us look at book reviews before we purchase titles these days. So, the 2 main internet-based places where we see those reviews are on Amazon and on a website called Goodreads. I want to let you know that the reason why I'm going to be encouraging you to get your friends, family, and evangelists reviewing your book on here is because when your book gets reviewed, this drives more sales of your title. And when your book gets reviewed, that also drives Amazon's internal algorithms to start pushing your book to other people who are reading similar titles to your book and suggesting them in that lower area beneath what they're already searching for. Here's something else that people who liked the kind of things you're browsing for right now also like. The third thing I want to point out is that I will be encouraging you to send out advanced copies of your book, either in print or an ebook, to reviewers ahead of release date so that they can have that review ready so that you can drive early traffic to your book and to your sales to help drive your rankings up higher. Here's an example of the Amazon product page for one of our first year's authors, Connie Sharon, who is super successful in the Scottish Highlands romance novels that she writes. Her titles are Amazon bestsellers. And I want you to notice that her book has currently 40 customer reviews with an average star rating of more than 4. So I'm not sure if this is 4.5 or how that breaks down. But have a look at the top 10 industry leaders you've chosen in your genre. When you visit their Amazon websites, take a look at the number of reviews their books have garnered, and you can even click through to read some of those reviews. And chances are good that you'll notice there will be great reviews, 5-star reviews, there will be good reviews, 4-star reviews, and there will probably be a few outsiders, the 1 and the 2-star reviews. That's okay. Your book will not be for everybody. I know this is painful to hear. My book is not for everybody. My sense of humor is not for everybody. We need to be okay with that. We need to own that. And I need you to know that even bad reviews still drive traffic to your product page and future sales to your book. Don't be afraid of a critical review. Here's an example of an author page that you can create on Amazon. This is known as Author Central. When people are browsing for your titles, they can click on the author herself or himself, and you'll notice on the left-hand side underneath the author photo, there's a follow button now. So Amazon is following in Facebook's path and allowing their customers to make a connection to these authors so that as soon as a new title is released, Amazon will notify the customers who have followed them on Amazon's author pages to let them know that new titles are available. Now, everybody's a critic, so I want you to start starring people on your mailing list. Remember, our first technique was to build your list over time. I want you to put a little star, or maybe even a big star, next to people who you think can be tapped to create a book review early on in your book release process to help drive sales and traffic to your Amazon product pages and to help you reach out to additional readers. In the meantime, one of the strongest ways that you can begin to get some reviewers in your back pocket is to connect with other authors now. Those who are your industry leaders potentially, but certainly those who are your colleagues here in this class or in the area where you live. I want you to connect with those writers now, and as they release books, those people whose work you respect, as they release books, I want you to create reciprocity by helping them promote their books by putting up a review for them. And because this will pay you back, this is karmic payback here, folks. When you help other authors you respect, they will help you later. This is one of the great ways that we're building community and that we're increasing the value of our relationships, not only with our other readers, but with authors. All right, so that's 4 steps I want you to take. Grab the handouts. Let me pull an example up here on the screen. So go print your handouts. We have I think it's 4 or 5 sheets. I want you to fill in the top 10 industry leaders in your genre. And then you only have to put the names on the top sheet there, and you can just refer to them by number on the future sheets. How many products do these people have on Amazon? Do they have a website or a blog? What's the address? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? Are they on other social platforms like Google Plus or Instagram or Pinterest? Make a list of where those industry leaders are, and then tap into what are they doing. I want you to take notes. I want you to write down what you love and what you hate about what they're doing so that it will inform you when it's your time to shine, when your book is ready to release. And again, just refer back to that first page to see who's who on the 1 through 10, and then add the information you're gathering about them here on this sheet. On page 4, then I outline the pages 4 and 5, I outline the 4-step process that I want you to tackle in little 5 minutes here and there, building your list, jotting down the email addresses and the snail mail addresses of the people that you know and want to connect with when your book comes out, beginning to think about building a website or a blog and how you're going to use that eventually, thinking about creating your Facebook presence. If you don't already have a personal page, I want you to get started on that really soon. Contact me directly if you need help. And then starting to create some reciprocity in reviews of books by authors whose work you respect. All right, so that's a quick overview of marketing for authors, what you need to know now, as opposed to when your book is ready to release or has already released, and how you can start building this over time so it doesn't have to stress you out. I look forward to your questions in the comments area below and hope we'll get a big conversation going around this, because there are tons of things you can do before your book releases that will be super powerful to help you reach more readers more quickly and to enjoy this writing process even better. Can't wait to see you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.